Hello everyone, and hello everyone. We are live, I think. Okay, so in this room we have about 17 people. So I'm also sharing this on YouTube as well. So probably there were few who want to join through YouTube. I already shared it, the link where they can join. Uh, so guys, let's start. Let me share the screen and just let me know when you are able to view that. Okay. Okay. So hopefully you guys are able to view the screen. So let me know if you are able to view the screen. Okay, I got the response. I'm presenting to everyone. Okay, so let's start. Okay, guys. So this is security and compliance on cloud. Obviously, probably in next half an hour, I can't cover each and everything what security and compliance means on cloud. But this will be the first discussion on cloud and tech tutorials, which I just want to start with the subscribers and the people sitting in this room, right? So, I went to few open source sessions, and everybody was saying that we should have a small video on security and compliance on our channel as well. So then I decided, okay, I will actually start putting some presentation around it. But when I start searching this on internet, and it was like thousands and thousands of pages, and there are about hundreds of books written on security and compliance on cloud. So to bring them into a small presentation of an half an hour, it's really hard. But let me try to summarize, and because I too have a latest experience of developing some cloud compliance and security compliance on AWS. So probably I can bring those things into it, and probably I will be able to explain it more to you guys. Okay, so let's move forward. So when to consider a security, right? So when I should consider a security, then I started putting that obviously I should have some stats to support it, right? So generally, if I move to the enterprises, this I have taken from Sky High Networks. So the average enterprise uses about 1400 plus distinct cloud services. So that's how the dependency on cloud services is developing around from last about 3 to 4 years. The average employee actively uses 36 cloud services at work. The average enterprise uses about 76 distinct file sharing cloud services. So that's a lot of cloud, right? So if I design something without considering a security, so that's a question to audience here as well. So if I design something without considering a security, how difficult it will be by just taking into account this data. Hard, right? It's very difficult. So if somebody has to answer it when to consider security for cloud, it should be from day one. It should be from the start of your design of cloud. You can't say let me put some apps on it, let me some start trying data migration, or probably start using managed services and then starting to consider security. That's the biggest mistake which people are doing, because it takes hell amount of time to move all these things again in onto your compliant environment, onto your secure environment. and it's a deduplication of your effort. It's a high duplication of your effort. So you need to consider security from day one. So that's why people say don't say DevOps, say DevSecOps. Okay. So that's the thing I need to start with. So any questions still here? No. Okay. So layers of security and compliance. If I just talk about cloud infrastructure, right? So some people say we need to have right hardened compute. Some say we should have blockage from my managed services to compute. But if you talk overall for full stack cloud development, it's a bit more than it, right? It is like network, compute, managed services, third-party integrations, access management, and SaaS services. Let me try to touch it like one by one. So network, I have VPC layer, right? I don't have NACLs on it. So if I talk about restrictions on my VPC flow logs, right, my CloudTrail logs, so I can't miss those things, right? So these are the biggest net. My network is not HIPAA compliance. It's not SOC compliance. That's a big thing, right? So there are many tools in market. When you just put those tools, you will see, hey, those tools are showing me about 153 events which are non-compliant. So they are very true. They are just applying the template according to your environment, right? But it's on you to decide out of those 153 how much are really crucial. And many people say many of them are really crucial. Same goes with compute. I have my machines which are like outdated. I'm still running on CentOS 6. I'm still running on CentOS 7, probably in earlier versions, right? I'm still running on maybe OpenGDK some version. So if I have so much a non-compliant compute or so much, I have seen few S3 buckets open in DMZ and causing lot of mayhem there, right? So you need to, so those comes under managed services. So S3 is a managed service. Code deploy is a managed service. I have like RDS allowing everybody to access my DB. That's like you are giving an open passage to anybody to come to your cloud. So that's a managed service. So then we have third party integration. Okay, I want to integrate like New Relic with it. I want to integrate AppDynamics with it. I want to integrate Sumo Collector with it. So have you ever talked to them? So how my data will be extracted? What all things will scanned? I have my SAP running application and I'm treating it as a normal web IIS application. My whole transaction data has been pumped into the Sumo Collector or maybe any managed services. They have a good frameworks around compliance, but have we ever considered it for our own use cases? Access management. I have IAM roles, I have outdated keys everywhere, right? I don't know what's going on there. I never have a phenomenon of giving cross account accesses. I never review my access management policies. SaaS services. I have I have too many SaaS services to use from. I'm using New Relic in cloud version. So I'm pumping all my data to the SaaS. How I'm integrating it, how I'm using it, what my SSL certs doing there. So these are, so if you go to a security and then compliance thing and you talk about only one vertical, you talk about only one design perspective. So you're missing the design perspective of full stack. You need to consider what type of platforms I'm using. Am I using a standalone platform, auto scale platform, container platform? Am I using a technology which is distributed? You can talk about blockchain. People talk about blockchain. It's still in hyperphase, but yeah, people still talk about it. Okay. So these are the layers we need to consider. This is a basic discussion around security and compliance. First, we need to know how to talk about security, how to talk about compliance. So this I picked from in Investopedia, what cloud security means. So according to them, cloud security is a protection of data stored online from theft, leakage, and deletion. Methods of providing cloud security include firewalls, penetration testing, obfuscations, tokenizations, virtual private network, and avoiding public internet connection. Major threat to the cloud security include data breaches, data loss, account hijacking, service traffic hijacking, insecure application program interfaces. These API things are killing people. Poor choice of cloud storage provider. I have actually an incident to share with API thing. So we have a few applications running in cloud that's still using APIs from the people houses who have left the company. They are still using those APIs to get data for their own company. So they are using one enterprise data for startup. So this is the biggest thing, right? There are consistent DDoS attacks from other countries onto our cloud services. And then they put, yeah, then they put ransomware into your environment and ask for things, ask for money. So when recently I went to a conference, and there that conference was actually driven by some of the XCI people, and they were saying how countries which are more susceptible to these attacks are being uh, consistently hit by DDoS, and people on the other side, like on attackers, they are consistently working throughout the year to hack into those accounts. So these attacks shut down as a service, but overwhelm it with the data so that user cannot access their accounts, such as bank accounts, email accounts. Can you imagine people's email accounts, people bank account, people PII data shared because you have one simple machine sitting there in DMZ using public subnet and as well as private subnet is open to 22 port in public from everywhere. That's an easy passage to anybody. So you need to put standards from day one, from layer, from network layer till your managed service layer. Okay. So then that's a security. So what is compliance then? Cloud compliance is general principle that cloud delivery system must be compliant with. Standards that cloud customer face. This is very important issue with new cloud computing services, and it is something that a lot of IT professionals look at very closely, right? Compliance. I have seen people doing compliance on VMware. So we have a compliance structure in our on-prem devices. We have compliance structure on our on-prem DVs, encryption, decryption, SSL, HTTPS. So we need to divide compliance for data more rather than structure. People move towards structure more than data. If your data is not compliant, it has no use to put compliance on structure. People say, I have a cloud which is compliant. That doesn't mean anything until you have data being made compliant when it is flowing in and out of your cloud. Okay. So this is a basic thing which I just try to segregate my security and compliance on different layers, right? So if I talk about VPC layer that I already mentioned, this is your basic layer when you start setting up your cloud, right? These terminologies are more familiarized with, you can say AWS, because I have worked more with AWS, but you can always use this in any of your terminologies. So your hardening start with your VPC layer, who all are allowed into a subnet, who all are not allowed into that subnet, who all whenever there is a subnet, whenever there is a traffic inflow, where those logs are going, how those logs are going, how those logs are actually encrypted, right? How those logs are actually analyzed, what type of proactive and reactive actions we are taking on those logs, right? So this all come under VPC thing. Then compute layer is a major layer where your hardware reside, and generally in cloud environment, this compute layer has a shared responsibility. As you move forward, the responsibility level in sharing the cloud security increases and compliance level increases too. So in compute, if you are using managed services as a compute, then the responsibility on cloud vendor become more uh, intrinsic than you, right? But if you are using your own standalone EC2 environment, then you need to have proper patch management, proper system management, proper vulnerability management, proper compliance management, proper incident management, problem management, RCA thing, from where you are being get hit, right? You need to develop right compliance tools from day one. And you move forward. So these are the 5 things which I generally feel will have a long-term perspective in setting up security and compliance. Life cycle management, how a CI came into your cloud environment and how its life cycle is being maintained, how it is tracked, when it is tracked, when it is retired, how it is retired, right? Container layer is another black hole coming into the cloud environment. People are just putting things on containers. They're using ECS, they're using Docker, they're using Kubernetes, they're using OpenShift. But again, we need to make sure, and we are deploying it using a Docker file, what port we are exposing, or port mapping is done, how containers are stabilized, how containers are moved from one hypervisor to another. The service is using what phenomena, services, how log containers are being managed. Log analytics. Many vendors will say, okay, push your logs to our SaaS service. I will give you the results. But do you have those things to use? Do you really want to push your things outside your on-prem environment or outside your organization, outside your enterprises? On-prem dependency. I have database sitting in my on-prem environment. I'm fetching data from it. But when it is passing through Direct Connect or when it is passing through VPN, I have interest of sitting there and getting my data right. So those dependency need to access policies. I have seen many companies struggling with their access policies even after 6 to 7 years of their cloud implementations. Why? Because they never thought of putting money into their access management. They thought of putting money in just shift and left phenomena. You need to develop right access policies. You need to develop proper IAM access management thing. We still have issues using granular accesses, using IAM policies with SAML integration. We still have those issues. We don't want to put money into it, but ultimately we suffer. We have many people having too much elevated access over cloud, and we don't want to use IAM. We want to use SAML. We want to use AD. So these things are very important. People go out of organization, they can do, if we have so much automated environment, people can destroy it as well very easily, right? So those outages are sometimes user driven. So these are very basic things which I just try to cover in compliance as well as security. So most talked compliance in cloud is PII, PCI. This is the most talked compliance. But still I see very less use cases being moved to PII, PCI. Obviously, cloud companies are putting more money into it. They want to encourage. I have seen few technology-oriented banking systems moving on cloud. The major achievement which is achieved by cloud is CIS for cloud. So I think Center for Information Security has worked throughout, like they have worked phenomenally well with cloud. And major of your compliance tool, if I talk about DOM9, Cloud Checker, they are moving to enforce these policies for compliance. SOX and HIPAA are one of the major compliance which is talked about in cloud as well. Majorly SOX. If you want your PeopleSoft service to be on cloud, you need to have them on SOX, right? You can't have your Oracle databases without SOX compliant. You don't want an auditor come to your place and say, give me a report, and you don't know how to fetch it. You don't know where to consolidate it. And if you consolidated it, you don't know how to present it. So those things also, like making a compliance is one thing, getting an auditor a proper report is another thing. Planning and compliance is another thing. Reporting and compliance is another thing. So these all things come under compliance. I know. So this is a cause of violation. Through 2022, at least 95% of cloud security failures will be customers' fault. According to Gartner, it's just a customer fault, 95%. So we need to reduce it drastically. Obviously in non-cloud environments, it's still like 50%, but we need to reduce it. Okay. So we need to reduce it to probably 50% for cloud as well. So this was very basic. This was like very quick. If I talk about for cloud compliance and security, I will take the questions after it. So I'm Amrit. I already have my email ID here. I have a YouTube channel, Cloud and Tech Tutorials. If you have any questions, how to start with cloud and compliance, I can always help you. You can just mail me amrit_3327@yahoo.com. I also have mentioned my contact number here. So after this session, we may like disconnect from at least YouTube live, and we may take questions here in the room. If we have somebody online, definitely we can. But I think we are almost done with the online thing. We can start taking questions in the room. So happy learning on YouTube for you guys. Any question you can definitely put those in comments. I will take back. Thank you. Bye.